stroke couldn't be His grace. Well, I kept working with it. And I started to think of the stroke is His grace. And this is a very subtle point. And the Mickey Lamley's film called Fierce Grace got to India, and Siddhi Ma, the woman that runs the temples, Maharaj's temples, and she's told me, Maharaji would never give you a stroke. So I said, well, let me think about it. Because he didn't give the stroke. The stroke was nature. It's my nature, my body's nature. But He did grace me with seeing the stroke as grace. Then she and I could agree.
Anything else you or the guys want to say in closing here? Final thoughts on Be Love Now, which I'm going to just tell you one personal experience, because the book just came. This is the proof that I was showing you. Came late yesterday, UPS. I was hoping I'd have this, and I started reading it in bed last night, and I went back to the same transmission that we've all been talking about, and I was kind of saying, is that you, Maharaji? You know, is that your essence coming through? Because a lot of the time I'm in here with what I need to do with work, and sometimes I'm knotted in my gut because I'm not having my energy flow, and it was like that. It was like Be Here Now again, and I went, oh wow, this is going to be as good reading as Be Here Now was in the early 70s. So that I want to say to everybody who's listening or viewing this now about the book when it comes out. But any of your closing thoughts, or you know, I can give a hot mic to these Baba boys sitting here behind you.
Well, that was very nice of you to say that.
My pleasure.
But you have the book and I don't.
I'm just going to close with this idea that 2 million copies of that book were sold, and everybody who read it got touched in some deep way by the threads of Maharaji and everything that happened in India. Again, I called it the Baba ripple effect, touching so many people, and I'm hoping that this next round, if we call it that, will have a deeper transformational effect like it did on me in the early 70s, and people who've read the book since then. And I remember, I'll tell you, this is a closing story, because, you know, you tell good stories. This is going to be a short one. My wife at the time in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, knew I was kind of waking up. I was reading a lot of Alan Watts, and I was into the Zen of it, until I met Raghu on the beach in Montauk, and I said, what's the difference between this Zen thing and Bhakti Yogi, or Bhakti Yoga, you know? And he was talking about the heart. Well, I hadn't had that heart opening yet. And I couldn't read the book because I was still in my corporate days, and those funny pictures, the brown pages, were driving me crazy. So I put the book down. And I left on a flight to San Francisco to go to a tax conference, because that was my profession then. And my wife, with a joke, took Be Here Now and stuck it in my briefcase. And so I walk on the plane, and I have it under the seat, and I go to read something, and I open it up, and there's Be Here Now, and I'm stuck, you know, 5 hours coast to coast from Philadelphia to San Francisco, and I started reading Be Here Now, and the transmission happened on the plane. And then I started looking for you. I said, you know, I gotta find this guy. And fortunately, there was you know, The Only Dance There Is was a book that I followed up with, which was written. And then look how the threads came together here with these guys too, in New York and Forest Hills and everything that was going on.
Yep.
So look, I speak for many people saying, you know, how much we love you, we love with you, and
we love with you.
We love with you.
With you, and there's so many of us, so many of us, and they are going to change the world.
Yes. Well, I want to see some of those of us in Washington, D.C., maybe infiltrate into the Congress. I want to see it happen at that level, because then we've got a win-win scenario.
Well, we've got a president. When he was speech making before he got in, then I saw his soul in every word, and he said he was seeing the one, and then he got in because he was a representative of a nation, and the nation is an ego. So he then had, he's a representative of an ego, and he had the soul undercut. And I know that he's got in his pocket a Hanuman that his father gave him. Boy, that's a telling thing.
That's really good to know. I'm going to mention that to people who start arguing with his change of thought or mind now that he's co-opted in the White House, and I'm going to say, look, Ram Dass told me he still has a Hanuman in his pocket, so don't give up hope. Oh, look, thank you again for spending this time with us all here.
Thank you a lot, Alan.
Much love. Namaste.
Namaste.